In a distant village, surrounded by lush green hills and quiet streams, life moved at its own slow pace. The villagers were simple people, busy with their daily routines, farming, trading, and tending to their homes. But there was something missing. Laughter. Smiles were rare, and the weight of everyday struggles seemed to have wiped away any trace of joy from their faces. The village, though beautiful, felt somber. One day, something unusual happened. 3 strange monks arrived in the village. No one knew their names or where they had come from, but they were known simply as the 3 laughing monks. They were unlike anyone the villagers had ever seen. They didn't preach, they didn't ask for food or money, they just laughed. Wherever they went, they would stand in the village square, looking at the people passing by, and burst into loud, uncontrollable laughter. Their laughter echoed through the streets, bouncing off the walls of houses, and filling the air with an odd, almost magical sound. At first, the villagers were puzzled. Some thought the monks were mocking them. Others assumed they were mad. A few were even angry, believing the monks were making fun of their struggles. But the monks didn't stop. They laughed, not at anyone, but simply because they could. Slowly, something strange began to happen. Despite themselves, the villagers started smiling. It was impossible to ignore the monks' laughter. One person chuckled, then another. Soon, a ripple effect spread through the crowd. Before long, the entire square was filled with laughter. It was as if the sound of the monks' joy had unlocked something deep within the people, a forgotten happiness buried under years of worry. Day after day, the monks repeated this ritual. They would travel to different corners of the village, stand silently for a moment, and then start laughing again. People began to wait for them eagerly, curious to see what would happen next. The village, once quiet and stern, was slowly transforming. Smiles became more frequent, and a lightness settled in the hearts of the people. Then, one morning, an unexpected event occurred. The villagers woke up to find that one of the monks, the eldest of the 3, had passed away during the night. His face, even in death, still held a faint smile. The villagers gathered around, expecting to see the other 2 monks grieving. Surely, they thought, the laughter would stop now. This was a moment of sadness, a time to mourn. But to their shock, the remaining 2 monks didn't cry. Instead, standing beside their fallen companion, they began to laugh, louder than ever before. The villagers were bewildered. One of them finally gathered the courage to ask, "Your friend has died, yet you laugh. Why aren't you sad?" One of the monks wiped a tear of joy from his eye and replied, "Our friend lived his whole life laughing. He taught us that joy is not something we find, it is something we create. He asked us to laugh even in this moment because death is not the end. It is simply another part of life, just as the sunset is not the end of the sky." The villagers stood in stunned silence. Later, when it was time for the funeral, an even more surprising event took place. The deceased monk had left a final request. He asked that his body not be washed or dressed in special robes. "I have kept myself clean all my life," he had said, "and I want to leave the world just as I am." As his body was placed on the funeral pyre and the flames were lit, a loud crackling sound erupted. Suddenly, a series of firecrackers hidden in his clothes began to explode, sending colorful sparks into the sky. The villagers gasped, then burst into laughter. Even in death, the old monk had given them a final gift, a reason to smile. From that day on, the village was never the same. People no longer took life too seriously. They worked hard, but they also found moments to laugh and share joy. The 3 monks had left a mark not just on their minds, but on their hearts. And though only 2 monks remained, their laughter echoed even louder, as if the 3rd monk's spirit was still laughing with them. The story of the 3 laughing monks spread far and wide, reminding everyone who heard it that life is too short to be lived in sorrow, and that sometimes, the best way to face life's greatest challenges is with a smile.